Carol, we are so happy to be joined by you for our first edition of you on our show. How are you this morning?
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yes, definitely. So to start off, for those that don't know, tell us what exactly is Michigan Week and what is your involvement?
Well, first of all, my involvement is I am one of the co-chairs that puts the breakfast on once a year in May. And this past year, we were at Wabi Country Club May 13th, and it was our 50th consecutive year. So we did we went a little bit overboard and had a lot of fun with our decorations. There's still a lot of people in this community that don't know what Michigan Week is. For people my age, when we were in school, we had a week-long celebration and we did little projects for Michigan Week. But Michigan Week started in the state of Michigan in 1954 on May 2nd. And it was the idea of a gentleman named Don Weeks, who was the former state of Michigan Economic Development Director. I have to read some of this because there's a lot to remember here. And it was his idea to bring the business community, education community, the government community, and labor community for celebrating all that is great about Michigan and for the residents of the state to beat their drums about the great state of Michigan. So in 1972, our superintendent for West Bloomfield, whose name was Dr. Anthony Witham, decided that the Greater West Bloomfield Michigan Week community should join the other communities in the state of Michigan. I really don't know how many there were at the time, but he got together some business people and educators. And the two people that really stand out the most for us are Pastor Jack Freed and Jeff Lieb. So if you go on our michiganweek.org website, you can learn a lot about what we do and how we got started and how to nominate somebody and what all that's about. But we're the only community that is still celebrating Michigan Week. Next year it'll be 51 years. I believe in 2010, everybody else kind of dropped out. And we continued. We continued because we have people in this community that think a lot about the state, think a lot about Greater West Bloomfield. And a lot of our groups call themselves Greater West Bloomfield, and some of us don't know what that means. So Greater West Bloomfield is the communities of the city of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and the township of West Bloomfield. But for Michigan Week, that also includes the school districts of Bloomfield Hills, Bald Lake, and West Bloomfield. So all of us get together and nominate volunteers that have gone above what they need to do to promote somebody else and to do some good around the community. So that's what we're about. We're about lifting our partners and our coworkers and our neighbors and our friends up to the level that all of you can see what's going on in the community.
Is there a certain number of people every year that we have represented in Michigan Week?
How many people get honored?
Yes.
Yeah, well, it varies, but I would say between 35 and 45 people a year, and we have different categories. There's a non-competitive category that's called the Honor Roll. And this year we renamed it the Greater West Bloomfield Honor Roll so that we promote Greater West Bloomfield, and that name does that for us. And then there's other competitive categories like student leadership and environmental. We have the Jack Freed Award. There's the Community Achievement Award, Lifetime Award. Those are all competitive. So if you nominate somebody in one category and we have an abundance in that category, we try really hard to make sure everyone who's nominated has a spot at the breakfast. They get honored in some way, maybe not in that category, but we make sure that they're honored. And we place them in a category that fits their nomination best. So that can bring us up to 45 people, 48 people, it just depends. And that all depends on how long the breakfast lasts. So we try to keep it down to a 2 hour, but it's a lot of fun. And I don't think people mind spending 2 hours in the morning looking and talking with their neighbors and friends and honoring those around the community.
Carol, what would you say is the most rewarding part of being in a leadership role for Michigan Week?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of being in the leadership role that you are in for Michigan Week?
Oh, well, just the fact that we're helping people do what they do. We're helping people nominate and lift up and put a shining light on those that they're connected with, whether it's who they work with, who they go to church with or worship with, who they volunteer with in a group like I started in the community at Scotch School PTO. And so my friends that I'm still friends with now for 40 some years, I met at Scotch School. So it's the people you work with in Greater West Bloomfield and live with and play with and have fun with. So there's somebody you know out there that has done something in this community that you would like to honor them for. I am sure of it. So that the most fun is making sure all those people get recognized and putting it all together. It doesn't just take me or my other co-chair, who's Pam Zajac, but we have a committee of people that take on different roles to help us promote Greater West Bloomfield. So next year, it'll be 51 years for us, and we'll be celebrating Michigan Week on Friday, May 12th at Wabi Country Club again. We hope that will all come to fruition. Another thing I would like to say, and I'm going to read this because I don't want to make, I want to make sure I have my dates right. Other important dates will be our nominations will open January 27th and they will close on March 10th at 11:59. Registration for the breakfast will begin on March 17th and end on April 21st at 11:59. And those dates could be altered a little bit, but if everybody looks for their e-blast from one of our partners, which is West Bloomfield Parks, and Megan over there will send out an e-blast to all the emails we have from past nominators, from past honorees, anybody involved will get an e-blast saying, this is what's going on, this is when it's going to happen, and this is how you nominate, and this is how you register. So be looking for that around February, I would believe around the end of February. So it takes a lot of people to put this together and a lot of partners, which Civic Center TV is one of our biggest partners. And if it wasn't for Civic Center TV, the whole world couldn't see what we were doing.
Carol, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We look forward to talking to you again next week to hear more about Michigan Week.
Okay, thank you.